Good evening and welcome to Sunday Politics on Trust TV, your destination for in-depth conversations on politics, policy and governance. I am Hamza Idris. Tonight we put the spotlight on the growing outrage and condemnation over the unprovoked attack and killing of 13 out of 31 innocent travelers in Mangun village of Mangu local government area of Plateau State by an ethnic mob. The latest condemnation came from President Tinubu, who described the incidents as heinous and barbaric and ordered security and intelligence agencies to fish out the killers to account for what he called their unacceptable action. The victims traveling in a branded ABU Zaria bus were in Plateau for a wedding when the mob attacked, killed and maimed before the security raced to the scene and rescued some of them, a situation the president said requires deterrence to guarantee citizens freedom of movement as a non-negotiable right. On Sunday Politics tonight, we'll be engaging with the security and intelligence expert, Dr. Sani Aliyu. He's here with us in the studio. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me once again in your studio. Thank you.
And of course, we are going to also have someone from the conflict area, Shabul Mazadu, to get his perspective on what has now become a recurring dismal in Plateau State. He will join us in the course of the program via Zoom, of course, from Jos. But before we delve into the conversation, here are some major developments in the polity. President Bola Tinubu has directed security agencies to ensure the perpetrators of the massacre in Plateau State are swiftly apprehended and brought to justice. This was contained in a statement by the Special Advisor to the President, Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, on Sunday. According to the statement, President Bola Tinubu condemned the killing and urged security forces to ensure the arrest and punishment of the culprits. Reacting to the news of the mother of the 13 wedding guests, including the father and brothers of the groom, the president described the heinous action as unacceptable and barbaric. The victims, many of them injured, were traveling from Zaria in Kaduna State to Jos. A route Kwampang, where the wedding is supposed to have taken place. Tinubu also directed the police to work with other security and intelligence agencies to ensure those responsible for the attack are held accountable. The president also called for calm, promising not to allow the dastard act to go unpunished. The governor of Plateau State also spoke, while the president also tasked the state government to stop these cycles of violence. But gladly, we received news that the police, they have apprehended about 13 of the suspects and they are now undergoing interrogation. Meanwhile, China has strongly condemned the U.S. attacks on Iran and bombing of nuclear facilities under the safeguards of the International Atomic Agency. The actions of the U.S., according to China, seriously violate the purposes and principles of the UN Charter and international law and have exacerbated tensions in the Middle East. China also called on the parties to the conflict, that is Israel in particular, to reach a ceasefire as soon as possible, ensure the safety of civilians, and start dialogue and negotiations. The Chinese authorities say they stand ready to work with the international community to pool efforts together and uphold justice and work for restoring peace and stability in the Middle East. And then on a final note, and on the political scene, there is actually a response from the presidential villa over the allegations by the former governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido, who said President Tinubu was fully involved in the annulment of the June 12th election. The villa said actually what Lamido is saying is revisionism, and he's just trying to concoct lies from the pit of hell. Viewers, you will also have the opportunity to call and express your views on some of these issues we raise on the program. Once again, Dr. Sani Aliyu, welcome to our studios.
Thank you.
Maybe I should start with the last one, because the first two, are interrelated in a way, because they are all about crisis and all that. You're not a politician. You really comment on politics. But here we are now. What happened over 30 years, right? The June 12th, 1993. Now, Sule Lamido, they said he has institution memory. And he was also in SDP together with Tinubu that time. I'm just giving the background. in case you are not interested in it. But then here we are now saying that this man who is saying they are the champions of democracy, they were part and parcel of truncating democracy in 1993.
Well, it's a difficult subject to delve into, but
exactly.
given to the antecedents of our current president, Ahmed Bola Tinubu, in terms of politicking way back those days, it would be very difficult for one to say that he is part and parcel of the annulment of June 12 election, because who was he in the country at the time?
That time.
It was a military regime, and if anything, I don't think somebody who knows that he cannot come into government without going through democracy will now be part of truncating democracy. I don't think so. Maybe from the Sule Lamido point of view, he has his own reason for saying so.
He actually dragged Tinubu's mother, the Iyaloja of Lagos, into the conversation that she was the one who mobilized women, to convince IBB to, truncate that process. As
far as we are concerned, I was a living witness in Nigeria that time, and as far as I'm concerned, it is not the mobilization of women that led to the annulment of June 12 election. The former president, Babangida, gave his own reasons for the annulment of June 12 presidential election. So whatever it is, I think we have far gone away from that. Of course, it's good to reflect so that we can get our act together.
To learn, yes.
To learn. But then, like I said, Sule Lamido has his own opinion, and other Nigerians too have their own opinion. Whatever that happened, well, it has happened. And the person who is the principal in the whole matter has come to apologize to Nigerians, and apology for me is accepted, and we have to move ahead and move forward.
All right, we have our Zoom guest from Jos, but before I link up with him, I just want to have your take on this escalation in the Middle East. This should be in 1 minute so that we can now quickly move into our conversation of
well,
you can see, you have heard what China appeared not confrontational, but many people expected China to actually...
China has always been very matured, and the American president doesn't seems to be very straight in his own promises and assertions. So, and today he said 2 weeks, give me 2 weeks to think about the whole thing and come back. The next thing is attack. So who is deceiving who? Donald Trump has always had his way this way. We all know that he's very deceitful in his in most
approach
of the things he's doing. So I think they are just trying to wake up the sleeping dog, and it's not going to go down well, because much as he's an ally to Israel, the Iranian has China, they have Russia and others that they are equally allied to them. So if the whole thing is allowed to escalate, it's going to be final world war.
Unfortunately, we hope somebody will now rein in on all of them to de-escalate the tension. Thank you very much, Dr. Sani Aliyu. We now have our Zoom guest, Shabul Mazadu from Jos. Shabul, welcome to the program. We're happy having you at this hour.
Thank you very much, Hamza. I'm glad to be on your program.
Yes.
And good evening, viewers.
Yes, and you are the son of the soil there. So we want to hear from you. What is the situation in Mongu as we speak now? Is there tension? Have the people deserted the town? Or they are going about their normal business?
For now, there is no tension. I think the governor has done a lot by trying to calm nerves. He visited the victims of the attack in the hospitals, and then he sent a delegation to Kaduna. He tried to appeal to people. He condemned the act, and then he ordered the security men to go after the perpetrators, and we learned that about 22 of them have been apprehended. And currently, by the grace of God, there is no tension yet though people are hot, though people are still talking about it, though people are still condemning it, because it is an act that Plateau State is, particularly that zone, Mangu zone, is not known for these kind of things. So for now, there is no tension. There is the place is still calm.
Talking about Mangu, not known for this kind of heinous attack. What do you think is responsible? Because this is not an isolated case. Quite a number of people have been intercepted along Mangu Pangshi Road and then killed without provocation. Let me just put it mildly, especially the travelers. There are many other factors. What do you think is actually responsible?
I think there are so many factors that are contributing to this kind of animosity in the country, particularly when it comes to the issue of religion. I think with the incessant attack and onslaughts by the suspected Fulani headsmen, and on the other side too, the Fulani headsmen do complain that their cattle are being attacked, they are being rustled, they are being killed. And then the onslaughts on communities, these acts contribute in brewing tension within the zone and making people, hot, and so many people are offended. So you know that when there is this kind of situation on ground, little thing can trigger such, reactions from people that cannot control themselves. Though the governor even said that it is not justifiable for anybody that is hot to avenge on an innocent person traveling. So, there are many factors. And Hamza, let me take this time to say that there is a major problem in this country that I think if the government doesn't act swiftly, will end up one day in a major chaos. Okay. If you look at what particularly the clergy are doing from both sides, if you go on social media, you will hear so many of them, attacking the other religion. This religion will attack the other one. This one will attack that one. Instead of preaching love, harmonious living, peaceful coexistence. But no, they are preaching hatred and animosity. And you know that these things are built up. So you find out that the people will be going about hating one another. And a little thing can trigger. And any little suspect can trigger upheavals, can trigger attack. If you look at the country now, this unity, the real unity that we are supposed to have, we are not having.
Okay,
because of some of these things. The Christians are not...
Shabul, yes, talking about unity at the national level. I want to actually domesticate it or localize it. In Mangu, it is very, very difficult to see a single house where you don't have adherents of both religions, Muslim and Christianity. What happened? And the governor is also from there.
So as I told you, of recent, just a few days back, there was an attack in that axis, in Mangu axis. And there was also an attack on people's farms where their crops have been having grown up, were destroyed completely. So you know that you should expect some people to be harboring this kind of pain in their mind. And they're expected to exercise some decorum because they didn't know those people that attack their crops, and they don't know those people that have been attacking the communities, though there are assumptions that the headsmen and other people like that. So at least the mood there is not favorable. People are so sad because you have to wake up in the morning and with the good news. Most of the time the news is about there is an attack in this village, there is an attack in that village. And people are always looking for areas they can vent their anger and their frustration. Okay, but I still condemn it. It is not a license for anyone, an innocent person on the road and kill.
Yes, I will still come back to you with a question or two before we let you go. But I want to ask Dr. Sani Aliyu here. You heard him. Okay, some people's farms attacked. Could that be justified? That, okay, now these are travelers in a branded vehicle moving to Kwampan, which is a local government in Plateau State. And then what we gathered, of course, from our reporters, they only stopped, I think, to ask questions as to which way to follow a route, their destination, when they descended on them.
First of all, it is unacceptable situation, very unfortunate, very sad, primitive, in the real sense of primitiveness. You cannot see a branded government vehicle, an institution of repute, not in Nigeria, in the whole of the world, a global university in the status of ABU. You see people moving in that vehicle and you decided to kill those people. This is very unacceptable situation. What connects the people that are traveling in a government vehicle, an institution of that repute, ABU, with the local headers, farmers' crisis that is happening in Jos? There is no way we can justify this killing. These people must be brought to book, and the government should not treat it like Alkali's case, General Alkali's case. What happened in General Alkali's case, the perpetrators were not punished. And this is why this thing is happening again.
Yes, but you had Mazadu saying that 22 have been apprehended. So
it's not about apprehending them. When General Alkali was killed in Jos, the people were equally apprehended. What happened to them? Was there any justice meted against his death? Were they punished? Nigerians never had anything from there. So what we are saying is not about telling us that you have apprehended these people. Let's see justice given to those that have been killed. So what we are saying is that you cannot take an anger of a situation and just beat any innocent person and say you are venting that anger
transfer
on him.
aggression.
That's transfer aggression. It's very primitive.
All right, Shabul, you had Sani here saying it's like some people are not doing their work, and he quickly reminded us of the unfortunate incident of the killing of General Alkali and many others. Just last week, we brought the garrison commander, that is the Major General Umar Mohammed. We brought him on this program, and he said those apprehended at that time, they are now moving freely. Can we say with all sense of responsibility that Plateau State government is living up to expectation in nipping in the bud some of these atrocities?
Honestly, Hamza, I agree with
Dr. Sani,
the other speaker. You see, if there is severe punishment to all criminality, I think it will serve as a deterrent to others not to repeat such. As I said, it is not an excuse for anybody to vent their anger on innocent commuters. That act is totally condemnable, and the perpetrators should be drastically punished so that others could learn from it. But I think what I am seeing, apart from these attacks, I think the criminality surrounding the whole thing is a serious issue that the government must have to sit up to ensure that these things are halted.
What are
because I think it is only a criminal that will just go to people's farms and destroy the crops while he will eat food in due course. And it's the same criminality that someone will go and be killing cows, knowing the benefits that are driven from derived from the cows. And for people to be attacking one another and killing one another is criminality. And I think the government has to be on its toes to ensure that the perpetrators are apprehended and drastically punished so that it will serve as others. And I think we really need laws to safeguard some of these acts, you know, to spell out drastic measures that will be taken upon anybody that is caught culpable in this kind of situation. You know, I think if the government wakes up.
Many people who were born and brought up in Jos will say before 2001, Plateau as a whole was not like this. You move freely. Virtually every community you go, there is this aura of tolerance, religious tolerance and all that. And even before, I mean, beside the General Alkali incident, we recall in 2021, you know, the 26 travelers that were killed at Gadabu. They were actually in southwestern part of Nigeria. They went for Maulud in Bauchi. So whether people like it or not, I think people have to face the reality. I don't know whether you think beyond the issue of farmer harder, there is also this issue of religious intolerance that is brewing in Plateau State. Who will address this issue?
that was what I was trying to say, that you cut me short. You said you don't want to take it to the national. As I said earlier, our religious leaders, they have to wake up and preach tolerance. And we have to understand one basic fact. We're already intertwined. You can never have a separate community where there are purely, that is purely Muslim, or another community that is purely Christians. You can't have such. We're already intertwined. And you will find out in Plateau State that there are families, almost most of the families, you find out they have both Christians and Muslims. We have no other option than to learn to live in harmony and in love. I think our religious leaders, our traditional rulers, and the government, and the politicians must desist from using religion to separate the people in order to win election. I think there must be a drastic measure on this. Using religion during electioneering campaign contributes a lot to religious animosity. I think this will have to be drastically taken care of in order to bring harmony and peaceful coexistence. You know, using religion for politics and then preaching against the other people's faith, you know, it contributes in causing, you know, enmity amongst the adherents of the faith, the two faiths, most especially. So I feel that to a large extent, drastic measures must be taken. And in fact, if there are laws that will be made to curtail the kind of preaching that the clergy should do, I think it will go a long way to help in solving these issues. And there is something that we must all understand, both the Christians and the Muslims. If a Muslim dies today, it is God that will judge him, not a Christian. And a Christian dies today, it is God that will judge him and not a Muslim. So since we are not going to be the ones to give eternity to anybody, and we have freedom of religion, why can't we respect one another's faith? We are not independent of one another. Let's look at ourselves as humans first, because humanity should come first, and we should be of benefit to one another. Both faiths contribute to the building up of the nation. They contribute in developing democracy and in the economy. And you find out that there are things that somebody from another faith will do that will benefit the entire society, and the other one also from another faith. So why can't we look at the importance? Why can't we look at our resourcefulness? You know, why can't we look at things that will better our lives? I think we need a lot of education. That is where I think we need a lot of education. We need a lot of orientation. Our people at the grassroots need to be taught on some of these things. They need to value and respect one another's religion, to look at the importance of living in diversity. If these things are taught and then are really campaigned, I think to a large extent, it will help in addressing some of these issues. But above all, we should all understand, religion is God's. And it is only God that will judge. And it is not man that will judge. And God ordained any man to judge. So who are we working for? If we continue like this, one day we'll wake up without a society. Because if we go about destroying the things that we possess now, we'll always be dragging ourselves back, and we'll have to labor more to get these things, to acquire these things. So you find out that even when you go to school, there are teachers that are of different faiths teaching. And if you go to maybe the hospitals, to the markets, and everywhere, you find out that we benefit one another. So why can't we look at the benefits? Why are we looking at the religion?
Thank you very much. That tolerance is key to restoring peace in Plateau and across Nigeria. We thank you very much for joining us, and we hope to have you some other time. Shabu. Yes, that was Shabul Mazadu, public affairs analyst and publisher from Plateau State. Thank you. You heard him. I don't know. What is your take? Is the Plateau State government doing enough in your estimation? Because we have now 2 or 3 instances, giving an example. The General Ali incident, and then the 2021 killing of 26 travelers, you know, originally from Ondo State. They were intercepted, just like these people from Kaduna, intercepted and then lynched.
Well, first of all, I would say the Shabu contribution was very germane, and I think what we need in this country is religious tolerance, and then we should have, the government should see the need of bringing an institution of certifying those people that will preach to the people. That will
it shouldn't be an all-goers affair.
No, because as we are going now, there is a lot of hate preaching in the churches. There is a lot of hate preachers too in the mosque. So we should get way of certifying those preachers, whether you are a Christian or a Muslim, and then that curriculum that is removed from our educational system, that civil education, that's not. I don't think it's there anymore. They should bring it back, and that issue of religious teachings at the primary, secondary school should come back, because when values are not given, you don't know we are bereft of our values as human beings. First of all, as a country, as a people, then as human beings, every day we are degrading in this country, because we are leaving that senses of humanity to barbarism. So and it is very dangerous for a country, a heterogeneous country like Nigeria. And so there is a need for the government to say, fine, we are going to create a commission, an agency that will look into the profiles of anybody that will stand before the pulpit to preach, and then they should put it as a national policy that there's no such thing as hate preaching in Nigeria. And there must be religious tolerance and values, because I'm not even seeing the difference between a Christian and a Muslim in terms of the Bible teaching and the Islam, the Quran teaching. But sometimes my father used to told me in those days that a half-baked person is the most dangerous person in this world. Half-baked means somebody that is not refined, somebody that is not properly educated. It's a very dangerous species. And this is what we are having. You just go to some kind of Islamic school, you just come out, you just start preaching. You just go to some sort of seminary, just come out and start preaching. And then you start talking anything that comes to your mouth, and you are not even looking at the danger of what you are seeing. Because whatever you continue talking, if you continue insisting on a lie, over time that lie becomes truth before you. So I think we should try how to mitigate this thing is by, first of all, creating that agency that will be certifying people that will come before the pulpit and preach. And then secondly, the government should equally be interested in what they are preaching.
Just like what obtains in other, in advanced countries, whether you are a Christian or a Muslim, they have to moderate your khutbah or your sermon that you deliver.
They have to
but beyond this, why are people so heartless? I don't know whether you've seen rashes of some of the amateur videos from the incident in Mangun. When that vehicle was set ablaze, some young people were jumping, celebrating, while people inside the vehicle were crying.
That is the effect of hate preaching. Look at what happened in Tutsi and between Tutsi and Hutu. When the other one is calling the other one that is not human, it's rat also. They start go and hunt them. So when you are killing, you are just seeing you are killing rats. Imagine
you don't see the human face.
I saw one video on the social media yesterday. I was completely dumbfounded when a lady, an Israeli lady, was being questioned whether how does she feel if they are killing Palestinians, the way they are maltreating and killing Palestinians. She said it bluntly that she don't see, she only feel about the pains of her own people. She doesn't have any feelings about them. This is the extent people can go. When you have so doctored a mind to hate, then you don't see the other person as human being. And even their president said they don't have right to live. So this is the kind of talk that we should not allow in this country. For you to see a hider as a bandit, or you see a header as a bandit, or you see him as a
irrespective of whether he
you just say Fulani. Meanwhile, we have bandits within other tribes, we have terrorists within other tribes in Nigeria, but just outlandishing one tribe and just giving them a very negative connotation.
Profiling.
It's not correct. So we must have a way to reach out to the people. In fact, this is the work of NOA, but I don't think they are doing what they are supposed to do.
In terms of societal
orientation.
But beyond societal orientation.
And then, like I said, our educational system must look back and see how we were processing this country before. Earlier before now, we have what is called civic education. As a Christian, you have Christian religious knowledge. As a Muslim, you have Islamic religious knowledge. And they tender you, they coach you right from the primary school, to the extent that in those days, a Muslim and a Christian celebrate Christmas and Salah together. We don't know all these differences. I was born and brought up in Kaduna, and I know very well that during Christmas, we enter the church. As a Muslim boy, we go to the church. When they are doing their bazaar, we are there. When we are doing anything in the mosque, all of us, we are together. So I think politics has done more damage to this country than good, because it is democracy that brought all this nonsense we are seeing, trying to divide and rule, telling this person that is a Christian, telling this person that is a Muslim.
And as Mazadu said, it's like
this one is a Hausa. So as now a Plateau man is no longer seeing himself as a northerner. He's seeing himself as the other part of the north as a Muslim. They don't deserve to live. What if the other part of the north starts seeing them that way? It means nobody can travel anywhere again in this country.
Because we are intertwined.
And we are intertwined. Let me tell you, my first wife is from Kaduna State, but a Christian. And I'm a Muslim. I got married to her. There was nothing like Christianity or Islam in focus.
I mean, you didn't push her.
There was nothing like that. Our parents were in harmony with what we did, and I have never in my life, until she died, I have never for one day preached her to come to Islam. She died as a Christian. In my house, I would urge her to go to the church on Sunday. So where do we get all this bad teaching from? We have a lot of intermarriages. We are some of our families. So you see, same father, same mother, a Christian and a Muslim within the same room. So what happened? And we are so intertwined that even you see like my mother is from Auchi, my father is from Zaria. So if
Auchi in Edo State.
In Edo State, I'm Zaria from Kaduna State. So if you say that they should divide this country today, how are you going to divide me? Are you going to take a part of me to Zaria and a part of me to Auchi? We are so many like that in this country that we are intertwined. We have. I'm married. I have 3 wives. I have a Kogi wife. I have a Yobe wife. I have a Kaduna wife. So
all of them with children.
And all of them. So how do you divide their children?
Now, some people are blaming. The government, when I say the government, at the national and at the subnational levels, of not doing the right thing. When you say part of you from Edo, it reminded me of the Oromi incident now. How many months? The whole world, as if the whole world will collapse when those people from Kano were intercepted
who was punished?
And killed. So that is what I'm asking now.
Who was punished among
Yes,
them?
so why is government behaving like this? Like today we have statement from Tinubu. Yesterday we had another from Kaduna State Governor. Earlier today we had it from Plateau State Governor condemning all this. But then all of these lamentations will be overtaken by events maybe by tomorrow, Monday.
This is the situation. I think we better start taking national issue very, very seriously. Our togetherness is unbargainable. It is God that brought us together, and it's not negotiable. That is why we say our unity cannot be negotiated, and then we must stand by it. We cannot separate ourselves because God has united. In the Christendom, they said that who God had united, there's no man should be asunder. So we should all put our arms down and start looking at ourselves as humans, and then see that we have something in common. We have the same kind of eyes, the same kind of nose and mouth. We breathe the same thing. We have the same needs. So we don't have any difference.
And we had the president today saying freedom of movement is non-negotiable. But it's like people are restricted now.
Now, will you invite me to go to Plateau? I will go to Plateau. I won't go now. Because obviously you see me, you see a Muslim. Even though I don't look like a Hausa man, I'm looking more like a Southerner, but I know I'm a Hausa man. But you will see me, and if I remove my cap, you will see the shader of Islam on my forehead. So why will I go to Plateau to be killed? This is how we are drifting away as a nation. And so serious step must be taken, serious action must be taken. People that are culpable must be brought to book, and the whole world should be.
But who will bring them to book? Because as I said, just last week we brought Major General Umar here, and he said the same incident of General Alkali in Plateau, those who were arrested, they were all released.
This is Tinubu's government. I so much have trust and I believe in Tinubu. Tinubu will not take this rubbish. Tinubu must see to the end of this thing. If Tinubu has been in the struggle, in the trenches, all his life, then this is the time for him to show us that he really truly loves Nigeria, and that is why that's why he has been in trenches all his life, struggling for democracy, struggling for the unity of this country and peace in this country. Today, God has given him that leadership. So we must see him sew Nigeria and put Nigeria back together. It's possible. It's not something he cannot do. So if he should get people who will advise him rightly, and he must not show any sign of bias or weakness.
But as I said, Dr. Sani Aliyu, you keep records in your organization of some of these heinous acts, and some of the cases will be taken to court, and before you know, they will fizzle out.
Because our judicial system is very weak, and so this is where we are saying the president should strengthen.
But you know, judiciary does not operate in isolation. If there are no influence, considering that we are discussing Plateau, I know that the general who came here, he said it was the politicians who actually went and bailed those culprits, I mean suspected culprits that killed General Ali and many other people. It was the politicians. Do you think that the judiciary alone will actually salvage Nigeria?
Well, it is the same thing that is eating up in terms of insecurity in this country. Because the other time I was discussing with one of the big boss in the police, and he told me about his lamentation. He lamented that the most frustrating aspect of their work is that they will struggle hard and apprehend a terrorist or a bandit and take him to the court. The following day, they will see the bandit calling them on phone and telling them we are already out. So who is bailing those ones? Even if the politicians, if there is a law today that anybody who comes to bail a criminal is culpable to be charged as an accomplice to that crime, then people will restrict themselves from going there. So I think we should tell the National Assembly to come up with a law that some certain degree of crime in Nigeria but
I think those laws are already there. Manslaughter is not bailable.
If they are there,
it's a criminal offense.
If they are there, they should strengthen them because they are weak. We are not using them. You know, so the National Assembly should look around, and then maybe you have to call the police because the police is in charge of internal
policing,
internal peace and order of the country. So they should call the police and then bring the judiciary and the police together and tell the police that anybody who comes to bail anybody with so degree of crime, the prosecutor should not even present the matter to the court, because the police prosecutor that present that matter for bail in the court, or the lawyer that brings up that matter for bail in the court, should be apprehended and be jailed.
All right, we need a leadership to do that.
That's a leadership.
Yes, Dr. Sani, we will open the line now. Most likely we will receive a call or two for people to give their own understanding of this protracted problem, or maybe they will ask you some question. And the viewers, use the telephone line that will be displayed on your screen. Call. Let's have your take on this kind of heinous killing, as we witnessed in Plateau State, not just once, not twice, and not even 3 times, severally. Who should be held accountable? What should be done? And then those who have freed those who committed such crimes, what should happen to them? Over to you as we await your calls. Now, before we receive the call, It's like death is becoming a recurrent decimal. I mean, unnatural death in Plateau. I'm worried because just last week you can see the hundreds of people killed in Benue, and then within the weekend in Borno, a suicide bomber into Idris and also killed some innocent people. Not to talk about road crashes and all that. Who will secure life?
You see, in my position as the Co-Commandant General of Neighborhood Enlightenment and Safety Organization, NESO, we do a lot of intelligence activities. We give reports every now and then to the constitutional agencies in order to be proactive, in order to prevent the occurrence of most of these things.
All right, let me, sorry to interrupt you because we have our first caller. Yes, hello, who is on the line? Hello?
Assalamu
Wa alaikum salam. You are welcome to the program, Sunday Politics.
Okay, thank you, sir. My name is Nasser from Jos.
Okay, Nasir from Jos. Okay, the volatile area.
Yes,
Okay.
in fact, I was even born in Mangu, so I know the terrain very well.
When were you born in Mangu? How many years back?
I was born in Mangu Hali.
Okay, okay. That is before you reach Mangu. I think it's about 5 or 7 kilometers, right? To Mangu.
Yes, that is my hometown till today.
So where are you now?
Now I'm in Jos.
What, you are no longer living in Mangu Hale
No, I was living there. I was even there a day before yesterday.
with your family.
Yes.
So what is your take? How did Mangu, where this incident happened? When did they actually turn to another kind of humanity?
Actually, sir, the problem has been going on for a very long time.
But what is the source of? Yes, I'm with you. What is the source of the problem?
The source of all this problem, it is politics that was turned into weapon, but the politicians are using it against the masses.
You know what you said? Do you know the implication? You said it is the politicians that have weaponized politics, right? And they're using it against the masses. But of course, you know, we had Shabul Mazadu. I know you are familiar with him.
Yes, I'm familiar with him.
Yes, he was on this program, and you can see he was frank. He said, of course, there is the political aspect, but then the farmer harder. Do you think farmer harder can lead to what is happening now?
Yes, even that one is a strong case. Because where I live in Manguhale, there's a crazy route. Up Manguhale, there's a village we call Sabangari.
Yes.
So there's a crazy route. The route come and pass via the Sabangari, and it crosses over. People that used to cross to northeast, they used to fly that route.
But is it there up till now? Or it has been encroached?
It is there up till now, but the indigenous are the ones blocking the Fulanis from using the route.
That they will not pass through it?
That they will not pass it, even having two days to this Babasalao.
The route was blocked?
The route was blocked. There was a gunshot and gunfire. It was even God that saved people.
Now, as somebody who is from there, born and brought up, what is the solution? Who will solve this problem?
The solution to this problem is justice.
Justice.
Which will not be served as far as Nigeria is concerned.
Thank you.
Because if one side commit an offense, their own people will back them. If the other side retaliate, them too, their own people will back them.
So there must be justice.
The problem lies.
All right.
Nobody wants to settle the issue once and for all. That's the truth.
Okay, you say your name is Jamilu?
Nasser.
Nasser, thank you very much for calling and for your informed perspective on this.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, bye-bye, Nasser. You had Nasser from Manguhale.
Yes, and that's why...
He said there is a grazing route, but then it's no longer accessible to
that's why the Hausa man says, if you accuse rat of stealing, then you must equally blame the how do you call it, local beans for smelling. There is no way you can say herders are the problem of this place. No. The same farmers, the same locals, they have the same problems. And I'm telling you, it is all about sensitization, educating them, and then bringing them out from their primitiveness. Unfortunately, this is a civilized global world today, but still there is still primitiveness. When you start talking of tribalism, it's primitiveness. When you start talking about sectionalism, it's primitiveness. The world has become a global village. It has become a